Valorant is like a casino. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but no matter what, you always give something valuable, your time. I've been playing Valorant since it was in beta, and I feel like over time, the game has evolved from a game that I enjoyed playing with my friends.
Oh shit! God damn! You need to go back.
To a game that I question why I still play it at all. It isn't because the game has gotten worse. In fact, I think Valorant has gotten better over time, with more agents to play and more strategies to test out against players in competitive. I actually think the more time you put into Valorant, the more you appreciate the game and enjoy it. That is, until a certain point. What's that point, you may ask? The point at which you enter the land known as Elo Hell. Elo Hell is a term that's used to describe a streak of ranked matches where your games are low quality and the outcome is determined by factors like bad teammates, players that are AFK, trolls, boosted teammates, and factors that are perceived to be outside of the individual player's control. This in theory makes it difficult for these skilled players to climb up the ranks and out of Elo Hell due to the difficulty of consistently winning games under these conditions. Whether or not you believe in Elo Hell is your own choice, but the fact remains that when we as gamers feel that the outcome of a game is out of our control, it's really frustrating and it can make you despise a game. I mean, if you really think about it, the main reason people rather play games instead of consuming other mediums such as television, film, or books is because of the aspect of interaction and control that you get that is impossible in those other mediums, because in those forms of entertainment you are always following someone else's story, whereas in games you can always create your own. The most common advice for players in Elo Hell is to focus on your own gameplay and ignore factors outside of your control. The less you allow uncontrollable events to affect your focus, combined with the more games that you play, the closer your actual Elo will grow to your expected Elo. And through this logic, we can already see how Valorant can become so addicting for so many players. In theory, the more games you play, the closer you should be getting to your true Elo, which almost all players think is higher than where they currently are. You see, Valorant, like League of Legends, is designed to make you want to play, like, a lot. Not just because it's fun and makes Riot a ton of money, but also because there's some psychological factors that make Riot games so addicting. So here's why you hate Valorant but can't stop playing. Competitive Valorant is like a casino. We all know the seriousness surrounding gambling addiction and how it has ruined many people's lives, so I don't make this bold claim lightly, but Valorant is almost exactly like one of the most popular games you can play at the casino. Yeah, I'm talking about poker. On the surface, it seems like your Valorant rank is determined by wins, losses, and your individual performance, but if we break this down even further, your Valorant rank is really determined by these three factors. A, your performance, B, in-game events, meaning your teammates' performance and decision making, as well as the opposing team's performance and decision making. In poker, this would be the cards that you and other players are dealt, as well as the decisions made by those other players. And C, the volume of games you play. Your performance combined with the in-game events determines whether you win or lose, and that combined with the number of games you play leads to you getting closer to your true Elo. Each game you play is like a new hand. To break this down, in both poker and Valorant, you can control A, your performance, and C, the number of matches you play, but you have no control over B, the in-game events. The higher you climb, the less likely you are to be affected by B, but just like poker, no matter how seasoned you are, you cannot control the outcome of B, but instead, it is better to focus on A, your own gameplay. The exact same attitude that pro and semi-pro poker players have regarding individual hands is the one that pro Valorant players have regarding individual games. They both look to improve their own performance through analysis and practice and completely ignore factors outside of their control. I'd argue the reason why Elo Hell is so prominent in Valorant specifically is because it can be incredibly difficult to emotionally detach yourself from a match where you have sat through 45 minutes or longer of what you perceive to be bad luck, whereas in poker, a bad hand can be anywhere from 30 seconds to maybe 10 minutes to complete. This is why the volume portion of the Valorant equation can become so toxic for so many players. The game incentivizes you to grind for Elo to help you reach your true rank, but at the same time, it might take anywhere from hundreds to even thousands of matches to reach where you think you truly belong. This isn't inherently bad, it's just how statistics work. The more trials you run of an experiment, the closer the experimental probability, your current Elo, will get to the theoretical probability, your true Elo. You also get hooked through the same psychological tactics that a casino uses when you're on a losing streak, introducing the can't end on a loss phenomenon, aka the sunk cost fallacy. The sunk cost fallacy is our tendency to continue with something we've invested money, effort, or time into, even if the current costs outweigh the benefits. Basically, we invest more into something only because we've already invested in it, regardless of whether it still makes us happy or is even worth it. In the case of Valorant, the sunk cost fallacy is you pressing start match after you go on a losing streak because you feel like you've already invested so much time and effort into not only your current gaming session, but also your overall rank. There's also pride at play too, with you knowing that turning away now means the next time you come back, you're playing against other players that you feel are below your true skill level. It also feels terrible knowing you just spent hours playing the game just for your rank to be lower than when you started. You'll feel like you're wasting your time and you'll begin to question why you're even playing the game at all. Another reason why players spend thousands of hours of their lives grinding to get to the top is because of the feel-good chemical dopamine that is released in the reward system portion of our brain when we do something good like win a round, get a kill, or gain elo. There's also the glaring issue of ladder anxiety. We all work hard for for our ranks, grinding our way through matches for months or even years, and when we finally get to our goal, we're afraid of losing it by just having a bad match. We're afraid we'll get bad teammates, we're worried the enemy will play something that will counter us completely, and we're afraid we might even just have a bad day. This fear of losing our rank is ladder anxiety, and yet when our fears get validated for even a single match, the fear can get stronger until we cool down, which for some players might simply be the next day, and for others ends until the next rank reset at the end of the act or season. But it isn't that simple. Riot doesn't want you to leave. Their goal is to get you hooked on Valorant and specifically get it to become a part of your routine. How many times have you woken up on a weekend or had some free time after work or school and automatically just go to click that red V icon on your desktop and start playing? They want you to form the subconscious habit of playing Valorant because habits can lead to addiction, and addiction can be extremely hard to break. They do this through the competitive grind as we just discussed, but also through the frequent item shop refreshes, new acts, new episodes, and other tactics to keep the current players engaged, but also to get players who have taken a break to come back. They've also made it easier than ever to get a quick fix by jumping into modes like Team Deathmatch, Swift Play, Spike Rush, and regular Deathmatch. The longer you play a free-to-play game, the more attached you'll become to it, and the more attached you are to a game, the more likely you are to spend money on it. Remember this, free-to-play really means free to pay, and you're more likely to spend the same or significantly more in a free-to-play game that you've sunk hundreds of hours into than you are in a $60 standalone title. So if you think about it, we have the sunk cost fallacy and ladder anxiety causing us to run away from our losses, combined with huge spikes of dopamine rewarding our brains each time we win a match, pulling us closer to our goal. This combination of having something that you are running away from and something that is pulling you closer to your goals that we see being used in Valorant is an extremely powerful combination that famous entrepreneur Alex Hormozi also talks about when examining the traits of highly successful people being obsessive over their goal. In the case of Valorant, it gets you to become obsessive over achieving your goal within the game, leading you to never want to take a break. So what happens if you do decide to take a break? You're punished. If you played seriously, you know that coming back after a long break isn't as simple as just hopping back into a match. Your aim might be off, you might need to do some aim training, your game sense might not be as sharp, your communication might not be as frequent, and a bunch of other little things add up and cause you to slowly fall from where you previously were before you took the break. You're essentially punished for taking a break, as your performance will most likely suffer in competitive, causing you to lose that precious RR you previously grinded so hard for. There's also this social aspect of Valorant since it is a team-based game. If you're someone who plays with friends who also plays Valorant, it can be difficult to play another game if that's the only game your friends are playing. Convincing them to play another game might end up with them trying to convince you to come back. Valorant is designed for you to not want to take breaks, but if you are going to take breaks, they don't want it to be a long one. My advice for you, the viewer, is to not take the game so seriously, to take breaks when you need them, no matter how long they are, and to explore your other hobbies outside of gaming. Personally, I would try to not spend a ton of real-world money on digital items, and if you are going to spend money, I would actually budget and write down how much you have spent or are currently spending on the game for your own knowledge to see if you have a spending problem. I think something even more scary would be the amount of hours you've spent playing the game, and I know through some third-party apps there might be a way to do it, but I haven't tried it for myself. I'm sure most people would be surprised when they actually do the math and lay it all out from a money and time perspective. If you are going to play the game a lot and grind, I would keep my focus on my individual performance and completely ignore what is out of my control. Whether elo hell is real or not, believing in it doesn't change anything, but instead gives power to a theory that removes accountability from your own performance and ultimately your own elo. If you want to see my video on how games like League and Valorant are tricking you into grinding for elo, check out my video here, and if you want to know why you are always buying games that you never play, check out this one. Thanks for watching.